This isn't my house. Those aren't my kids. I'm not dad. I'm not a dad. You're not my wife.
Money and love, if it were you, which one would you choose? 13 years ago, I chose money. Now I am extremely glad that I abandoned my girlfriend and boarded the plane to London. I, Jack Campbell, am an investment wizard known to everyone on Wall Street. My life is an epic of success. Top luxury cars and mansions, surrounded by beautiful women, every day. Driving a limited edition Ferrari, I arrogantly declared that I needed nothing. Hundreds of millions of options transactions were being discussed in the conference room, and I could see through Alan's absent-mindedness at a glance. I reminded him that we were holding the largest merger in the history of American companies, but he mentioned family and promises. How can a man who accomplishes great things be bound by that kind of warmth? It was almost 9 o'clock when the meeting ended. Passing by the convenience store on the corner, the chaos inside made me stop. A man excitedly waved a winning lottery ticket of $238. The cashier suspected it was fake and refused to redeem the prize.
Dude, get out or I call 911. Check the ticket, stupid. Look at the ticket.
My investor instinct instantly made me smell a business opportunity. I walked straight up, put on my smartest attitude, and offered to buy the lottery ticket in his hand for $200, which would earn me $38. This proposal was so simple that he agreed without hesitation. Just as I was about to turn around and leave with the lottery ticket, he suddenly turned around with a smile.
Well, what do you need, Jack?
Got everything I need.
You just remember that you did this, Jack, okay? You brought this on yourself.
The next morning, I opened my eyes and realized the problem. This was not my cold-colored penthouse. What's worse, there was a woman holding my arm. Kate? Kate at the airport 13 years ago? The door was knocked open, and two little rocket-like figures screamed and jumped onto the bed, pulling me to call Daddy. This is such a joke. The fear seemed to be pressing down on me like the walls of the room, and the air was too thin to breathe. I had to get out of here now, immediately. I had to go back to New York, back to my real home, back to the world I knew.
Where's my Ferrari?
What?
Where's my Ferrari?
The hell are you talking? What's he talking about?
I grabbed the key, jumped on the clumsy guy, stepped on the accelerator to the bottom, and sped towards Manhattan. Seeing the familiar neighborhood and apartment building, the familiar figure at the door made me almost cry. Tony was there. I was going back to my own home, but he stopped me, looking at a stranger.
A Christmas joke?
They call the cops? I'm gonna call the cops.
No, I'm gonna call the cops!
Let's get you some help. Surely there's a shelter somewhere in this city.
A shelter? Are you smacked out of your head? I'm the richest man in this building!
Turned around and got back into the car. Go to the office, only there can prove who I am. Pointed at the glittering board nameplate at the entrance of the company. Why is the name on the nameplate Alan? I walked out of the company desperately and was almost hit by a speeding car. That was my Ferrari. It was being driven by the strange man that night. I ran over and knocked on the car window loudly, but he was very calm, and then said something that made me want to die. This is actually a parallel world, a glimpse of the life I could have had. Before I figure out the direction of my life, I can't go back to the real world for the time being. Everything is crazy. I feel like I have been abandoned by this world, and the only choice left for me now is to go back to Kate. I want to have a good talk with her. As soon as I entered the door, Kate rushed over to hug me with an anxious look on her face, but the next second she turned into questioning and anger. Where did I go? How should I explain? I began to reluctantly accept this absurd reality, but the moment I opened the closet, I couldn't control my disappointment. In this world, I don't have a 100 square meter cloakroom, but a small wardrobe and cheap discounted clothes. This feeling of disappointment was like a stone pressing on my chest, reminding me that this was not the Wall Street elite life I was familiar with. The next day, the crying of the baby woke me up from my dream. I was so panicked that I didn't know how to coax this little guy. I could only knock on the bathroom door to ask Kate, but she told me that it was my turn to take care of the child today. I am a Wall Street elite, and I have never done this. How should diapers be changed? Fortunately, Annie saw my dilemma and came to help. She stood on the chair and looked at me, saying that aliens made me look like her father, and asked me if I could make chocolate milk.
Welcome to us.
Anne told me where to send my brother Josh to the nursery, and I did it. Before leaving, I asked her where I should work, and she said selling tires at Big Ed's. I walked into the store and asked the employees to find the office. It was very small, and there was no place to put anything except a desk. In the evening, the news reported the big news of the corporate merger. I was so angry that I yelled, "This is obviously my business. Now it has fallen into the hands of that stupid boy Jack." Kate came in and interrupted my mood. She said sweet words to me and wanted to get close to me, but I pretended to sleep and escaped. While shopping, I tried on an expensive suit. Looking at myself in the mirror, I seemed to have found the feeling of being a big shot on Wall Street, so I decided to buy this suit. My wife went from admiring it at the beginning to panic when she saw the tag. She actually asked me to take it off.
No. I could have been 1,000 times the man I became. I could have been one of the richest. Forbes, how could you let me give up on my dreams like this?
I gave up the $2,400 suit and apologized to Kate. When I got home, I found an old tape. In the tape, we were a happy couple. I also longed for such happiness, so I decided to do something to make up for it, but Kate was one step faster than me. She gave me a gift, which was the suit I always wanted. But before I had time to be happy, Kate raised her hand, which made me even more confused. It turned out that today was our wedding anniversary. Looking at Kate's disappointed face again, I asked our daughter, Anne, for help. The plan was put into action immediately. I took her to a high-end restaurant in the city, and we danced in each other's arms under the jumping notes played by the pianist. I confessed my true feelings to her and tried to make up for all my debts. From then on, I slowly fell in love with this kind of life, which made me feel fulfilled and down to earth. That day, Peter drove a car with a flat tire to my shop. With the habit of working together for many years, I couldn't help but share my valuation model with him. The transaction value of this merger could reach $130 billion instead of $122 billion. I took Kate to the luxuriously decorated apartment in the city center. I excitedly told her that if I could get that executive position with Peter, this kind of life would be a reality within our reach.
Don't take Annie out of a school that she loves, and don't move us out of a house we've become a family in.
Don't you see? I'm talking about us finally having a life that other people envy.
They already do envy us.
After returning home, I accidentally found the ticket to London among the old things. Kate said that if I was willing to pursue a new career, she would also be willing to move to New York with me, because she firmly believed that love could transcend everything. I am willing to give up the opportunity of a $130 billion business for my wife, because I realized that cherishing the happiness in front of me is the most important thing. I took Annie to play in the snow, and she hugged me. She said she believed her father would be back soon. This sentence was like a warm current and a sharp knife, piercing my heart directly. I know that I don't belong here after all. They are waiting for the real Jack Campbell. In the evening, I finally saw the man again in the convenience store, but I don't want him to appear again.
I'm not going back.
A glimpse, by definition, is an impermanent thing, Jack.
I've got kids.
I want to go home, back to the few people who rely on me and wait for me at this moment. When I got home, the house was warm and quiet. I couldn't help but go to Josh's room first and look at his sleeping little face. Then I went to Annie's room. She seemed to feel me, opened her eyes dazedly, and asked,
"Is it morning yet?"
I thought of the code that only we understand.
Going back to the mothership.
I walked into the bedroom. Kate was still awake, looking into her eyes, thinking that this might be the last time I saw her like this. A strong fear and a huge sadness swept over me.
I need you to remember me, Kate, how I am right now. Keep it with you no matter what happens. You have to promise me, Kate, because if you don't, then it's like it never happened, and I don't think I can live with that.
Promise.
I forced my eyes open, but I still fell asleep. The glaring light woke me up, not the warm morning light, but the cold and dazzling city light. I lay on the huge but empty bed in the luxury apartment in New York. A huge sense of loss instantly overwhelmed me. I must find Kate, now, right now. On the familiar street corner, I stopped in front of the warm house, but a completely strange man opened the door. I began to mobilize resources and finally found Kate's address. Then I saw her preparing to leave New York for Paris. She explained to me that her big law firm had set up a new office in Paris. I almost subconsciously asked,
Were you married?
No, I never got married, Jack. You?
Her negative answer was like a life-saving straw, and then she handed me a cardboard box containing old things, saying that she found it when she was cleaning the house, and that was why she contacted me. Messy letters, old ticket stubs, and our old photos. In our early 20s, we smiled brightly and only had each other in our eyes. Even if that home was just a dream, the possibility between us was not. Now, right now, I must seize this last second of opportunity. I ran to the airport with all my strength, looking at her familiar yet unfamiliar face. I could feel the trembling, fiery, and unprecedented sincerity in my voice. I wanted to tell her everything I dream in the simplest and most shocking way.
We have a house in Jersey. We have 2 kids, Annie and Josh. Annie's not much of a violin player, but she tries real hard. And Josh, he doesn't say much, but we know he's smart. And we're in love. After 13 years of marriage, we're still unbelievably in love. Maybe it was all just a dream, I swear. Nothing's ever felt more real. I know we could both go on with our lives, and we'd both be fine, and I choose us.
Okay, Jack.
This time, I finally didn't miss her.